Thanks for joining us. It's 5:30 p.m. Today is Wednesday, August 6, 2025, and we're going to start with the pledge if you'll join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Randy, roll call, please.
Okay, Trustee Winslow and Treasurer Rickower are excused and absent this evening, so I got Trustee Kidda.
Here.
Trustee Leighton.
Here.
Trustee Everson.
Here.
Clerk Rattari is here, and Supervisor Durant.
Here.
Staff present is Manager Kangas and our attorney Roger Zappa. Committee members present are, from our library committee, is Paul Maran. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Any public comment before we get started? Name and address, please, Dean.
Dean Kimmis, 2132 Cherry Street. And I'm here for the noise. So I did, for the township, for the section 4 of the general prohibition of noise. It should be unlawful for any person or entity to make, maintain, continue, or to cause to be made or continued any excessive, unnecessary, unnatural, repeated, prolonged, and unusually loud noises. Any noise which annoys or disturbs or injures or irritates or unreasonably impairs the comfort, repose, health, peace of another within the city, within the limits of the Charter Township of Marquette. So I mentioned before about, according to the National Institute of Health, or the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, that outside 55 decibels and for inside 45 decibels. It's kind of what's acceptable. And my decibel meter, about one that said 78 decibels.
78?
78. And that was in my garage, just at the end, where the door opens. I really caught my garage. I have a nice garage all fixed up. And that's not, and when I took that, wasn't from the real loud, the hard hitters, the ones that really can hit the wall hard, so it'll go over, much over that. Every morning, about, last Sunday was 8:45 in the morning till about 9:30 at night, playing all day long. And I don't get up too early. I like to lay in bed in the north pickleball courts were, and my bedrooms and the bathroom and the living room are kind of north end of the house. So that wakes me up all the time. So like for 17 years I usually wake up with a smile on my face, ready for the day. Now I wake up quite irritated, get rattled out of bed, and throw the pillow over my head so I can try to sleep a little bit longer. But I don't like getting up early. I'm retired, don't have to. But one other thing I didn't mention before, some kids came to play tennis, and I showed them how to put the legs down and move the nets out of the way. Well, another person, I want to identify he or she, went up and told the kids go play somewhere else because they had a bunch of people who were coming to play pickleball. So these young little, just probably 12, 13-year-olds, retired adults, kicked them out of there, told them to go play somewhere else. I didn't think that was very nice. So nets are always up there, and people think that it's, they probably don't know how to move the nets out of the way so they can play tennis. So I noticed in the morning, though, if they do play at the south end of the courts, the south two. I don't hear it in my bedroom or my living room. And later in the day, so if I want to read a book or something like that, I'm hearing the banging noise in my living room. I want to take a little nap. They're out there playing on the north courts. It's pretty loud. So I think that's probably, I think you kind of got the point so far since all the times I've been here that, and as I was looking at other options, I do see that Northern's got courts, a lot of people play there. And once again, out in the Sands Plains, and it's a real nice big parking lot right down on the end here. That put some lines down there and that's there, and when you're having a wedding or something like that, shove them off to the side and or a function or something like that, but plenty of parking, nobody's gonna get run over. So I'm kind of thinking about the safety things a lot too. As I mentioned before, with all the parking and kids going by on those electric bikes at 28 miles an hour and whatnot. So I do think about, my inconvenience, or, well, more than inconvenience, but also other people's health and welfare, that want everybody to be safe. And I don't think there's just too many people for that area for parking, so I don't think it's very safe for what's going on there. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Okay, anybody else? Any comments on what we just heard? Okay, thanks. Next up is the approval of the consent agenda, which tonight consists of approval of regular meeting minutes of July 16th, 2025. Bills payable, excuse me, in the amount of $653,848.66. No other received reports. The UPCO public hearing next week, case 21684. And I did put in the Marquette senior calendar. I'm going to try to get this every month for Maureen. And that gives you an idea of what's available for our township residents. Got this from their birthday celebration. Must have been 2 weeks ago downtown. That was pretty fun.
I'll move to accept the consent agenda as amended because I have to,
yeah, didn't get a chance.
there's one thing in the minutes that need to be changed is Michelle Schroeder was here and I don't have her listed, so
From the 16th.
yes. So I will put her in those minutes.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, then we just need approval of the remainder of the agenda, but I need to pull one out. We're not going to talk about the firearms policy tonight because the attorney needs to look at it a little bit more based on information we've got from our insurers, liability insurers. So that'll be on the next agenda.
I move that we accept or approve the agenda as presented.
As amended,
I'm sorry.
I'll support that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, next up is our library report. Mr. Paul.
Good to see all of you again.
Thanks for coming.
As you know, Laurel Niskern is moving into the city, and so I will be the lonely TAC representative until we find somebody else to be a second TAC representative. So I'm prepared to go to all the library meetings and all the township meetings, but it would be nice to do every other as Tom Bronken and Laurel and I were doing. Anyway, there was a trustee meeting at the library last night, and the first thing I noticed when I went in the library is they have paved that walkway in the parking lot. Originally that was going to be according to the architect, grand allée with trees and flowers, but all the salt just kept killing all that stuff all the time. So they put pea gravel in there. Well, pea gravel, when a snowblower is going over it, tends to shoot at the cars that are in the parking lot. So that was not a very good alternative. So now it's concrete down the center of the library parking lot. They did some other summer stuff. They fixed the benches out in the front. The library staff was able to do that. They're getting ready for the Marquette Arts and Culture Center to pull out at the end of September and go to the old place on South Front Street there. And so they had to put on the agenda buying 20 tables and 50 chairs to put in the space that was being used by the Marquette Arts and Culture Center. One of the things that we talked about, and maybe Laurel mentioned this because it was at the last TAC meeting, which was also in July, and that is, it seems like every township has a summer carnival or a summer picnic or a summer event. And there was some sentiment that it might be good for the library to have a table or a presence at these events. So you may hear more about that, and we hope if that comes to pass that you would be open to allowing us to come to the summer picnic. The board passed the budget for the next year at the meeting. Even though they don't yet have a final contract with the library employees, they have a ballpark figure of what it's going to be, so they're able to pass the budget. And the Board of Trustees of the library is not going to meet again until September 30th. So I won't be here at all in September, but I'll be here probably the first meeting in October. So, any questions?
Anything for Paul?
Thank you as always for your kind attention,
Thank
and
you for coming. We sure
see you in
appreciate it.
October.
What are you gonna do with all that extra time now?
You know, when I retired, I thought, this is life. I got all the time in the world, and I got to keep a closer calendar now than I did when I was working.
Exactly. Funny how that works.
See ya.
Thanks again. Okay, I thought it'd be kind of fun to put in the MTA trustee responsibilities, just for everybody to read. A trustee is an individual placed in a position of public trust with fiduciary responsibilities to manage the affairs of the township for the best interests of the public. I thought that was really nice. Found that in my MTA folder. Kind of gives everybody an idea of what we're supposed to do. Community linkage. What are you hearing? How did Community Day go? Anybody go?
Yeah, I worked it. Went very well.
Excellent.
I think Linda Winslow and her volunteers deserve a lot of credit. Probably the largest number of people that have attended it for her report when I talked to her. And a lot of happy families, kids, went through all the ice cream. They all went. And there were still people waiting for more, so we obviously have to order more for next year.
And popcorn too, you had.
That went, everything went.
That's great.
It was a good event, good turnout, good weather, so it was perfect for us here at the township.
Good. Is it, she told me, whatever, Friday, I guess it was, she said, now, don't you have to worry about planning on coming. You spend your weekend with your family, whatever you're gonna do. She said, this isn't political. She said, this is the community. And I said, okay, sounds good to me. Because I usually try to go, or some of us do.
I unfortunately missed this one, the first one in a long time.
Well, and you scooped a lot of ice cream for a few years too, so.
Doc did a great job, I understand.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He came up with a few ideas for next year too.
That's good too. Good. Okay. Anything else that you're hearing in the community? Okay, I have just a couple things to share. The Central UP Materials Management Planning Committee, that you're aware of, the 6-county consortium that gets together once a month in Escanaba. That's not for a couple weeks yet, but at our last meeting, since it's usually right after our first meeting, they've created some surveys and they're looking for input from our group of 24. One set of questions will be to residents, another one will be to municipalities, and another one to businesses. So our next meeting, we're supposed to go through that and fine tune it or put suggestions in or whatever. And I think we're gonna have a presentation too, so I just wanted to let you know that at some point that's gonna be coming out. We also did have the Board of Review for July. We had 20 properties that had to be corrected. There was some uncapping and recapping, a couple veterans exemptions, I think. There was a garage that ended up getting removed. Some of the measurements were off, and there were some splits that took place since December that had to be included. So I just kind of wanted to tell you what that involves, because nobody really knows what the Board of Review does. It's a administrative, cleanup time after the March Board of Review. We also have a new county administrator, Dwayne DeRay, was the director at the airport, and he took that position last night, was at the county meeting. And the only other thing from the county meeting, besides their regular business, was that they are funded, they had their audit review. Anderson Tackman was there, going through the audits, said they did an excellent job for '24, and that their MERS is 65% funded. So they were pretty happy about that, because they had a $12 million loss on the MERS side of misrepresenting what the benefits were going to be. So it was considered a loss, even though the county didn't do anything. So they ended up trying to make some extra payments and got it from 63 to 65%. So they were happy about that. Iron Ore Heritage Trail, we had a question from a resident last meeting about where the walker's supposed to go. So I checked with Bob Hendrickson, the director of the Heritage Trail, and he said there's nothing that says that this is just for bikes, that the trail is for non-motorized, so that's anybody. Just in case that resident happens to listen to this meeting or watch it later, you have just as much right on there as the bikers, so walkers can be on the Heritage Trail. I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss something since I was on that board, that maybe things changed or with the new director, and he said, no, absolutely not. John?
I'd just like to add to the comments that I saw when I watched the meeting back. There appeared to be an attempt to tie that concern to the whole leash dog issue. And I want to make it perfectly clear that nobody's prohibiting walkers or dog walkers from where they have been before. We're asking the dog walkers to follow the state law, leash their dog, so that it's safe for non-dog walkers of any type to participate also. So that activity didn't eliminate walking from anywhere. There is a legitimate concern with e-bikes. We all know that. I think they're getting better, because I'm seeing most of them are now in the road, which is going to present its own issue eventually, unfortunately, but it's kind of a very fast growing fad that we're all adapting to and learning how to deal with. And her concerns are legitimate. There's some users that just aren't properly trained to be doing what they're doing, unfortunately.
Okay. Yes?
Was she notified that she was
I
right?
can give her a call.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would think that'd be good.
okay. Yeah. She usually watches these meetings, but
Right.
I've got her phone number. Okay, just a couple other things. The Senate has passed our term of office to start December 1st, so this will be in 3 years. It hasn't cleared the House yet, but that was the proposal, that instead of November 20th, that it be considered for December 1st, for those of you who are running again in the next term. But it still has to clear the House. One other thing, we talked either at the last meeting or the meeting before, and maybe this isn't fair, you might have to see the letter again, about the request from 906, Recycle 906, about doing the urban surcharge. And I haven't gotten back to them yet. I had a meeting today with the county chair and a couple other supervisors. And kind of thinking that at least the 3 of us supervisors would submit a letter to the next solid waste meeting, which is again right before our next meeting, and say that we don't have an answer, we're not in support of this yet. So I told them, I said, I'll ask my board tonight if they want to weigh in on that, or if you want to wait a while. I understand that the chair of the authority was on TV6 Sunday, talking about the letter that we all received. I didn't see it when I went to try to find it. It wasn't online yet, so I'm not sure exactly what he said, but they are looking for input. So if you want to wait till our other two board members are back, or if you have a thought, I just told them I'd mention it and see what you think.
I guess I'd like to see a full quorum of people here so we're well represented.
Okay, that's gonna be a couple meetings yet, because Linda will miss the next one too. Does that sound okay? Wait till everybody's back? Okay. That'll be the September meeting. Yeah, that's all I have. Okay, then we can get into policies. Discussion, consideration and approval of the employee assistance program.
Policy.
Policy, thank you. Program policy. Mr. Kangas.
So at your last meeting, you approved the program, the EAP. You now have a policy for how that may be utilized. It would either be voluntary by the employee, board member, or family member of either, or it could be recommended by the employer. It could also be required by the employer. There's actually 3 different options in there, and for some reason I'm missing one at the moment, but this would be the policy that goes with the program. So it's cleaning up the backside.
Any questions for John? Pretty clear.
I think it's a nice benefit to add for anyone that might need those services,
For everyone.
and it's affordable.
Any motions?
I'll move that we accept it.
Second.
Anything else, John?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Consideration of the township cell phone usage policy.
I think this is probably one that's overdue. I thought we had one and I can't find it, but it's a good reminder for all of us as employees that the township issued cell phones are not personal devices, and we need to remind everybody on occasion. Having the policy is the easiest way that this is public property, and whatever's on it is subject to Open Meetings Act, FOIA, you name it. So be very careful what you're doing on that township issued cell phone, and that's really what this policy does, is protects the township.
And the employee.
Yes, it does, correct.
That's not us, that's just the employees.
No, but just to go further on with John, as the FOIA director, anytime a FOIA request comes in and it's with any of the staff or the service workers, whoever, if they have a work cell phone, it's much easier to deal with than them having a on their personal cell phone, because the laws are written, if it's on your personal cell phone, you have to give it up. So, I mean, I know that one case that happened. It's on that side of the table, but I'm not gonna say anything more, but no, but I think the policy's good. It'll just protect us and the employees from any FOIA requests that come in. And in John's right, it was much overdue, because we've had cell phones for many years and I don't remember a policy.
I know I've seen something, it may not have been a cell phone policy, it might have been a social media policy or something along those lines. But this does address that too.
Yeah.
Some of the apps that are out there, you can have the setting delete your communications after a period of time. If it's work-related, that can't be destroyed. So we can't allow them to even use those apps on those phones, even if they're communicating work-related stuff. So Snapchat is one of them. It's specifically called out. TikTok is one, Facebook, the social media types. Some of us need our personal social media to get to the township's Facebook page, for instance. So our personal account has to be there if we're doing it from our phone. But we don't want employees that only have their personal Facebook account using their work phone for that kind of thing.
Makes sense.
Especially if it turns out they're posting during the workday.
I move we approve the Charter Township cell phone usage policy as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion and support. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. So we're skipping C and renumbering, relettering, so the consider engagement letter to bond council is C.
So this is important for the next item on the agenda. For the first round of bonds we did to refinance our facilities earlier this year, our bond counsel was Miller Canfield, Tom Polis, and our recommendation is to continue utilizing them for the next rounds, which would include bonding for the partial acquisition of the water treatment plant, and then the subsequent booster station upgrades that have to happen in order to provide that city purchase or water that we are sharing with the city. We're part owners of the plant that's treating the water and distributing it through the system. So we have to be able to provide that water to the entire system, which means the Cox pump house and the Northwoods pump house would eventually have to be upgraded as early as next year. Now, if we upgrade Northwoods, and we're getting into the next agenda item, but there's space in there that's currently used as overflow storage for some of our excess equipment. That space will go away because the header system on that booster station increases in size and takes up the vacant storage space. So the last thing we would have to do is finally build that storage building we've talked about off and on for the last several years. And we're working on that right now too. I've talked to Hall, who built the original fire hall. I've also talked to, and they did a design build on that with Integrated Designs and GEI. I've also talked to another architect, which is Barry Polson Architects, Megan Hornbogen. She designed the pavilion, and they're gonna get us a proposal too. So working on that. We have a dartboard number, that's all. We'll talk about it on the next agenda item, but looking for approval to accept the engagement letter with bond counsel first.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Any questions for John?
Oh, their fees, by the way, are paid out of bond proceeds, by the way. So if there's no bond sale, there's no fees to pay.
Is somebody gonna say something down there? Okay, all in favor then?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next, we have a resolution, and we need a roll call vote. Lots of millions in there. John?
Yeah, so this one is important because it would cover 2 rounds of bonds. The first round being approximately $2.5 million, which would be for that 16% purchase in the treatment plant that we talked about. And we've been working on that for years. We have concurrence with the city. We just don't know what the final price tag will be because we draw a line in the sand, we add the inflation to that date. That's the final number plus the fees with the bonds and all that. So what was originally 2.3 could go as high as 2.6 by the time we're done. And then the second round of bonds would be in 2026. We're covering those all in one resolution. It's the maximum amount we think we need. 2.6 million for the water treatment plant We have a little over 400,000 for what would then be our share to upgrade the Lincoln Pump House booster station in the city, because we own 16% of that to get us water. Cox Pump House and Northwoods Pump House and the storage building. Right now, the storage building budget is a dartboard number, which we hope is conservative at $2 million. That's a pretty lofty price tag, but at current square footage to build, might not even be safe, especially looking at the type of structure we're looking at. Could be 2-story. We don't know. But again, this is the maximum amount we would be looking at in the next 2 years. So if you adopt the resolution, the it gets posted in the newspaper, the referendum period kicks in after 45 days. If there's no referendum, then we have the ability to proceed with the bond sales as we've talked about. We'll get our final numbers from PFN on the financials, whether or not we use cash for any of it. So that's the other part of the equation, right? We do have some money in reserves. Do we fund a portion of it first with what we have in reserves before we borrow money? So those are the things that are still being worked out as we go through this referendum phase.
So if we approve this and it ends up coming out that the numbers are 11.5 million, that doesn't change anything, right?
No,
This is just
the maximum is 12 and a half.
So-
We could do no bonding in the end. I mean, if a referendum comes out, there's very likely going to be challenges that we have to figure out anyway. We don't have to do Northwoods, but if the well field has to be shut down because the aquifer dries out, Northwoods has to be done, and then it could be an emergency project and the price could be significantly higher. And we all know that inflation isn't negative, it's positive for cost, right? So 12 and a half is what we're assuming to be the maximum.
Okay. Questions?
Well, the only comment is, we're pretty lucky, we don't have that much debt right now, so the debt on our others, water, will be retired, what, this year or next? I can't. October, so that's gonna be retired. This the only debt I believe we have is on this building and the fire department building and in the public works, so I think this isn't too bad, and we'll get most of the stuff we need to get done with this project, so we should be good for another many years until this gets paid off then, so.
Well, we do have wastewater concerns that we have to deal with also. Again, that's a separate funding
Yeah.
mechanism, so.
So when the intent was that, since that debt is coming off of our bills, I think mine's $21.50 on my bill, this would kind of like replace some of that. It may end up being more, I don't think it's gonna be less, but it won't be added to the $21.50 that I'm paying now, if that makes sense. Some of that'll come down, it could be half, it could be another $2, $10, I don't know, 20. But that's kind of the intent, that's why we're kind of trying to do this at the same time. So it's not gonna be as big of a hit to the public.
We don't intend to increase the current payment until the current debt expires and replacing it with new debt if we have to go that far. Correct. And we don't have those final numbers yet.
But this locks us into a limited source of water, so.
Something we've been working on for a long, long time.
And
Not since I got on board.
we're at good terms with our neighbors to the east, so we have to take advantage of that, because some things change really fast
We have to get
sometimes.
this done.
Yeah.
And if you remember, the two studies that staff took care of determined that 16%, and that's kind of high too, right? Assuming for what, 20 years?
That's a 20-year projection.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that wasn't just a random number. We had those studies done, and the city agreed to all of this, so
And, you know, the water treatment plant is operating currently well under its current capacity and has the ability to expand within the current footprint, as Clerk Rattari informed us. So if we had to bump it up to 20% in 20 years, I think that ability is still there. The city is maxing out on its growth relatively quickly here. We're in the position to receive the coming waves. We're already feeling it, so we have to be prepared for that. And you know, the phase 2 project is in the distant past, so we're not considering that at this point.
No, the current water treatment plant can handle us for the next 20 years. And with new technology coming out, when they do finally do their upgrades, they're probably 10 to 20 years from now, they can increase the flow in the current footprint, as John said. So we should have no problems for the rest of my life anyway. So I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution NOI 2025 Capital Improvements Bond.
Support.
Okay, any other questions for John? Okay, roll call?
Okay, so Clerk Rattari is yes. Trustee Everson.
Yes.
Trustee Kidda.
Yes.
Trustee Leighton.
Yes.
And Supervisor Durant.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0 and 2 absent. So the referendum, as John basically stated, so we'll put this in the paper, it'll be published. So the public will have 45 days to petition us to put this to a vote, if I'm correct, right, Roger?
Yes.
So they would have 45 days from when it's published, I believe, or is it when it's, we haven't done this in a while, so I can't remember.
That's governed by the direct wording of the statute, we'd have to check.
Okay, but there's gonna be a 45-day window where if the public disagrees with us doing this, they can petition to have this placed on the ballot of the next election, and then the public would vote on it. But if it doesn't go that route, then it continues on, so.
Okay, thanks for that update. All right, consider an ordinance policy revisions on Lions Field.
My apologies, I was looking for an email that would have explained what Tom Colas had stated about that referendum period, but that can wait. All right, so I think Dean's been waiting for this one for a month, and I apologize, I missed the last 2 meetings. But thank you for allowing me the time to spend with family and take care of things for myself as well. So Lions Field, we all know pickleball has been a resounding success as far as the township's investment goes at the expense of the neighbors. Very clearly the case. As a first step to the solution, I'm recommending we increase the quiet hours by an hour at each end of the day. That's currently in our noise ordinance, and I didn't want to spend time drafting this if you didn't think it was a good idea. Currently, our quiet hours in the township per the noise ordinance they're from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. My recommendation is to add an additional clause in there that at Lions Field, quiet hours are 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. And in addition to that, I would like you to consider a policy that limits pickleball play from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. So that's 4 more hours of the day to try to give the neighbors some peace. This is me trying to come up with ways based on recommendations I was hearing actually from members of the pickleball community that seem to be in support of. I know it doesn't solve all of the problems, but it gets us down the path of showing the neighbors that we realize what's going on out there and we have to figure this out. And I think it's a good start. I do believe that some of them understand that playing on the south half of the court early in the morning is beneficial, especially to Dean, since his windows are right there on the north half. Not all of them know that, but we could look at something along those lines as well. I was out there the other day with Dean. All 4 courts had 4 players on them at, was it 10 in the morning, maybe earlier? Somewhere, it was very busy, very popular. And they were having a great time, but it's also loud. Some of the other things that I think you need to be aware of, the Softball Association has an app that allows players to reserve playing time. That's not authorized by the township, that I recall,
Oh, on our fields?
on our court.
Oh,
Nope.
That's the concern that I've heard from 2 people now. The kids were asked to leave because they didn't reserve it in the app. If you're not a member of the association, you don't know. Now, they're telling other users, get on the app and reserve the court. They don't have the authority to do that.
oh gee.
I had a resident come in, it was yesterday or today, indicating that he had been told to use the app to reserve a court. They didn't make him leave, but he said, is that right? I said, no, not based on my knowledge of what the board has done to this point. Our policy is first come, first serve, and my recommendation is we put signs up saying pickleball, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. I'm trying to get these numbers right in my head. I hope I'm not saying them wrong. First come, first serve basis. But we're also putting a little kiosk out there where we can post some of this stuff too. And if the association wants to be reserving our courts, they can pay for it. No court reservations without proper fee and permit from the township.
And it'd still have to come to this board to institute that, right?
Correct.
If,
Well, you haven't permitted it, so they can't,
Right.
they shouldn't be doing it right
Yeah,
now.
that's-
I think they're trying to help their members out so they don't all show up at the same time and realize that half of them have to go somewhere else. The problem is they're excluding non-members and they're trying to recruit people to their app. I think it's good intentioned, but limited to their own audience. And it goes against any action that, well, it suggests that this board took action to permit it and it never happened.
and we're about community, not just a group.
It's a public facility.
Right.
They don't have the right, just like no individual softball person can assume control of use of the softball field. Or same thing with hockey on the ice rink. It's a public facility. If they want to rent it for a specific period of time, they have to come here and go through the process, get a permit, pay the fees. Otherwise, they can't be reserving it, and we need to inform them of that somehow.
Can we have an additional line on that sign that says that they can't reserve it? Or if to reserve it, they have to come through us?
I think that's what we should do when we get that kiosk up, indicating no court reservations without approval from proper township, approval from Township Hall. Call 228-6220 for details.
It's too bad those kids got kicked off the court.
Well, and kids never know better.
No.
They don't know what
They
rights
would,
they
they would
have,
listen to adults.
right? It's unfortunate.
And maybe if that's the case, we just go to what, like the ice rink, where you have hockey one day, skating the
You
other
know,
day.
I think the neighbors would appreciate having no pickleball a few days a week.
Because you know, at the ice rink, we have hockey one day, we have skating the next day, we got hockey one day, skating the next day.
And then there's one day that's split half.
Kind
and
of
half.
split half and half, and that seemed to work pretty well there.
Mhm.
So
We can always do that too.
So maybe that's the thing we can do, is reduce, you know, because there are still tennis players out there that do like to use the tennis court, and it's nice now because we redid the surface. So maybe we do that, we'll see how it goes, and maybe we just do it, you know, have one day pickleball at the reduced hours, tennis at the same hours, and then just do that possibly. I mean, see where it goes, I mean, we're probably gonna be another month and a half, and then this problem's gonna go away for the winter, but it doesn't help Dean in the month and a half, unfortunately, but, unless they're out there in their snowshoes trying to hit the pickleball. But just a thought, just throwing out a thought. I don't know what the board thinks about that, but
Not a bad idea, in my opinion.
Not a bad idea.
what do you think, John?
I'm not opposed to it at all. I think the pickleball players are going to say they're being treated unfairly, but I do think they've monopolized that
I
facility.
believe that they've overstepped their bounds, you know?
Yeah.
And we gotta rein them back in just a little bit, and this is a good way to do it.
The problem is we're victims of our own success.
Yeah,
And maybe I'm embellishing a little bit, but that's really the best way I can put it. We spent a decent amount of money resurfacing the court because they were pressuring us to do it, and they came and used it, so they're good as their word. The problem is it's a little overboard.
I'm glad to see it's being used. You know, it's good.
It's impressive
money
to
well
see how
spent.
popular it is, for sure.
We have to think of Dean too, and I don't
Well-
know, and
In the tennis group too, there are
and the
people that
tennis
play
group,
tennis still.
Absolutely,
And how
yeah.
many are not playing because they can't get on the court,
Yeah.
you know?
You know, unfortunately, we only have that one space and we're trying to utilize it to the best so it is a shared space. But, they gotta realize too, there's a tennis court there too, it's just not a pickleball court.
I would also like to say that the majority of the players there are good people.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they listen to Dean, they take his suggestions to heart. Linda was over there and talked to somebody, they shared the concern on their Facebook page, and the majority of people said, yeah, that's fair, which is what my recommendation is right
Right.
now. But I do believe that's just the start, so the alternating days is a good idea. There's another option out there where they can't use the plastic balls, because that's what makes the noise, is the ball.
Well, they make other
There's
balls.
a Nerf
They have
ball,
new balls, yeah.
but I can tell you, well, it's not necessarily a bad thing. The diehards won't want to play with the Nerf ball because it is a little bit different.
Mhm.
The reaction of the ball is slightly
Slower,
different, and it impacts your game.
Well, we're not providing a course for competition pickleball. It's for everybody to
The
enjoy.
community, I don't disagree, but if we require that, then we should provide the balls. It's about, I forget what it is, $150 for 4 dozen. We
So-
could just come up with a dispenser, you grab a ball and put it back when you're done.
So if we were to alternate days, say it's Monday tennis, Tuesday pickleball, then Tuesday, if nobody's on the court, somebody can go play tennis. But if a pickleballer comes and wants to play, then they'd have to leave, right? Is that how?
Just
it's
like the
done?
hockey rules.
That's kind of how it works, yeah, but
It's a general idea.
due to the popularity right now, we all have to remember, we don't have full-time enforcement to deal with that. We don't have staff to be patrolling and controlling that kind of thing, so it has to be an honor system.
But at least if they understand what the idea is.
Right. Yep.
And if they want to be ignorant about it, then. So we don't want to have a big sign that's got da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, because nobody's going to read it.
We have to,
Gotta be short and sweet.
do some of it though, because if you don't have it, then people can plead ignorance. And if it's formal policy or ordinance, the sheriff's department can help us enforce it too, especially after hours when we're recharging for tomorrow.
Well, I don't know, do we have a contact for that pickleball group? I mean, it shouldn't be a league there. I don't think there should be leagues there.
I don't think they have league play there, but they reserve spots to go and play
About balls.
through their app.
Yeah.
I don't know that they realize, I mean, people don't understand the way public facilities work. It's free, so we're gonna dominate is probably not what they think is happening, but that's unfortunately what is happening.
But through that app, if they were to reserve a spot, even though that's not a legal means to do it, and so they get there and somebody else is playing, and they say, well, we got it reserved, you're gonna have to leave. They have no right to do that.
Correct, but the person being told that might not know
They
better.
might not know it. Like
The person that
kids.
came to talk to me today, I think it was this morning, was confirming what I told you, or what I think you all agree with me on, is they don't have a right to reserve it without coming here and getting a permit and paying a fee.
Well, they have to be made aware of that.
I agree.
Well, I think your first proposal is good to move forward on, and then I think we just sit down with some of that group and say, this is where it's going. So, you know, we have to have some possible solutions here for Dean, and not only Dean, but the other neighbors too, because there's more people that live around there too. And, you know, Manager Kanga sent out a video of the pickleball, and this is not a unique problem to us. It's happening in all the cities and townships in the whole US, because pickleball courts are showing up in the residential areas and they have the same issues that Dean has. So they're trying to resolve that. And
If there's an alternative ball that can be used and is not noisy, I mean, I'm thinking,
Well,
this might be the way that we have to go with this.
I told Manager Kangas, this is kind of similar, but not really, but Nagani Ice Rink put new glass in, and it was non-marked glass, or, yeah, it was a different type of glass. If you used a regular puck, it wouldn't mark it. So what Nagani decided to do is they bought the pucks that did not mark that glass, so, and that was the only thing you could use in that rink, was that non-marked pucks. So maybe we just provide the balls, the foam balls or whatever, and see how that goes. It probably would be a lot quieter because they're foam, or like tennis, you know what I mean? So maybe that's where we go too. Maybe we try that.
I think there's a couple of good suggestions here that we should send to the rec committee. I know it's gonna take more time, but there's some members there that are eager to have a meeting, and I'm eager to give them something to discuss. There is some pickleball representation on that committee that can present opposing points of view to those that aren't familiar with pickleball. It's a public meeting. The public can certainly go to those too and express their concerns with the current noise issues we have. I'd be more than happy to present them all, some of these alternatives to consider.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yes.
One other thing you could add into that is, what if you had tennis, instead of alternating days, let them be the earliest play and the latest play of the day, so that it's quieter for the neighbors?
Well, if we restrict pickleball by an extra hour, tennis can be played quietly if you don't get too vocal. You could theoretically play during the non-quiet hours when pickleball is prohibited,
Yeah.
right? That's already 1 hour in the morning and evening
Okay.
beyond the quiet hours.
Yeah, let's start with the hours. You wanna try that first? In the meantime, see what the rec committee comes up with? Do you want a motion to?
I would really like to do that so we can have the attorney help us
Solidify it?
draft the language to the ordinance.
Okay.
And then when the language is done, we could adopt that as an emergency ordinance, correct?
Probably.
So
Well,
then,
it's not part of, yeah, it's not part of a zoning
It's not in the
ordinance either,
zoning,
so
correct.
it's a little bit more expeditious for a non-zoning ordinance amendment also.
and then the policy would be that pickleball play is restricted to that even narrower window. And you can adopt that at a later date, or revise it at a later date to limit it to alternating days and half day on Saturday or whatever, Sunday.
And we change the balls if we have to.
Correct. I honestly have seen some fairly decent reviews of them, but
I didn't know
most
that they
advanced
made such a-
players won't use them a second time, is what I read. But we're not catering to,
It's not league play there.
right, we're catering to the
Casual
community.
play,
Yep.
yeah,
And if we provide the ball, they have no excuse.
yeah. I like that idea. I didn't know they made such a thing, so.
So I will make a motion that we enact the revised hours as suggested by our manager, and then send this to the rec committee to come up with a policy revision for the pickleball courts at Lions Field,
Support.
Beyond the hours.
beyond the hours.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? Okay, thanks. Good discussion. Okay, consider 2025 overband crack ceiling.
All right, this would be the rest of our road funds for 2025. We had already done a couple of small paving projects to improve some drainage and spinning out type of situations. And remember, this is not road millage money, it's general fund money transferred to township improvements to do this stuff because the road millage doesn't even pay for the full debt payment every year. I'm trying to be as clear as I can every time we talk about it because I still have debates with people that think we're supposed to do our annual road maintenance projects before we pay our debt, and we can't do that. We're obligated to pay our debt first, and we are supplementing this with general fund money. So we had hoped to do one more road than what's in my recommendation, but the actual prices that came in were about $1,000 more per mile than what had historically been received by the road commission. So we have to cut one project out. It's the one that made the most sense with continuity of next year's projects, because when we crack seal, the next thing is we chip seal. And not all roads have to be chip sealed right away because they don't get as much traffic, but some of these are heavier traffic roads. And I'm also recommending now when we do chip seals that we do a fog seal over the top so that the chips are locked in better. They don't make as big of a mess. I'm gonna tell you, the mess is probably gonna happen anyway because there's a period of time when the chips get put down and when the road commission doesn't do a fog seal, so they have to bring in Farner or somebody afterwards, and there's gonna be a delay in it. So the mess will happen during that delay, but then once the fog is done, it's sealed better, and the mess kind of stops at that point. So it's not perfect, but it's still the second cheapest behind crack sealing road maintenance tool we have.
I'll move to approve the 2025 overband crack sealing to Farner Asphalt Sealers through the Marquette County Road Commission for the bid price of $12,989.90 plus 8.5% Marquette County Road Commission admin fee totaling $14,094.04.
Support.
Okay, any questions for John?
There will be a small budget amendment because we only have about 13.5 remaining, but we're trying to maximize the amount of work we can get done this year.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, as Paul said, we've got a resignation to consider. I think Laurel, I put it on this agenda.
I'll move to accept the resignation from Laurel Ramsey Niskern from the Library Township TAC Committee.
Second.
Okay, motion and support. Questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Of course, we can tell she can't move, right?
Yeah, right.
Sure you can.
Okay. Any public comment? Anything else, Steve?
Yeah, as far as,
I'm pointing at you because you're the only one left.
I'm buying pizza when we're done. In the morning, we start, we wait till noon before they play on the two north end courts.
Well, for right now, we're gonna do the shorter days, right?
I think that's a recommendation we send to the rec committee to consider. And honestly, I don't think it'll fall on deaf ears.
And Dean, we don't usually talk back during public comment because it's more casual today, but we'll make sure you get an invite to that rec meeting.
Oh, okay.
Because it is a public meeting.
Yeah, it is. I guess every Wednesday, every times it, I like to wake up with a smile on my face.
Yeah.
And then just wake up.
No, we understand.
You know,
I mean, it's,
That would be, and another thing is I used to build tennis courts. They're back off Shivers Hills and in Big Bay, built one for, that I used for tournament. And I'm a very good tennis court builder in case I'd offer my services to build tennis courts, if you like. I do tree removal, though. That's kind of somebody else's bag. But if you do have a spot or you want a tennis court, well, depending on the site, 3 days, 4 days, you can have a tennis court and a parking lot. So that's how I used to make my living in my earlier years. And so, but if possible, they can hold off on the north end until noon. That would be very thankful.
John?
I think I need to attempt to reach out to one of their board members or multiple board members and explain to them while we're going through this, if there's ways that you can be flexible here. It's gonna go a long way towards getting community support. That being one of the concerns, just staying on that south half as late in the day as you can go. And by the way, reserving isn't something that we do unless you're willing to pay for it and go through the effort of coming here to do that. There's a few things that we need to discuss with them, and I think most of them should be receptive. The challenge is going to be it's different groups of people that come at different times of day, and I think it's primarily women that show up in the morning. Every day I've been there, that's been the case. So we'll see. I know this is a work in progress, and Dean, I asked him to be patient when we met last week. I think he's already been pretty patient, so now we have to ask for a little bit in return.
Okay.
Well, I did see as far as like a group will come in and play, they'll take off, and it was like I kind of joked, like I think they get a tea time or something like that, and the next group come in there, so this will go like this all day long for tea time.
That's they're doing it through their app.
Sure.
Yeah, so I've been watching that since the formats went up.
Well, it's good information. We appreciate you
Yeah.
letting us know what's happening, so we can kind of work together.
I asked some other neighbors to come over, and they didn't want to do public speaking, and the place is not very good at either, but, so they're, I guess I'm kind of speaking for them also. And like John said, most of the players are very courteous. There was just one lady, she said, "Does this noise bother you?" I said, "Yeah, quite a bit." She said, "Well, I don't care, I'm playing anyway." And I didn't say anything to her, I just smiled and checked the mailbox. So, yeah, generally people are pretty nice. You know, they're decent, and they're definitely into the game. And I did see some play that I wish I would have got them on the desk one. They were really good. I mean, they really hit it hard. But anyway, that's I'm a mountain biker. I don't play pickleball. So,
Okay.
all right, thanks.
Thank you. We went fishing this weekend and tried to get into the circle to launch the boat, and they had a court and lines and everything all set up in the path getting to the boat launch. So my husband had to stop. I'm usually down on the dock, and he had to stop and wait for them to get all their stuff. There were boats coming in like crazy in this circle, and they just stayed right there. And then they finally moved. You know, he got right up to them practically
What lake was this on?
on Independence.
Really?
Yeah.
Takes guts.
Yeah.
It's a very popular sport, growing faster than most of us can imagine.
Growing faster than e-bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Pretty close.
It's a lot cheaper than an e-bike for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, easier. Okay, any announcements? Anything to share? No? Manager's report, anything to share?
I've talked a lot, but I do have a few things because I haven't been here in over a month, to your meetings anyway. Renovare. I I think they're disappointed with the decision you made regarding the TIF, but they also understand that that's your right and privilege to make that decision. They're doing everything they can to continue forward anyway, with as many, I hate using the word subsidized, but that's basically what it would be, units to workforce housing pricing as they can get if the MISHDA funding holds out. If not, it will be all market rate. So they're doing everything they can to not lose the progress they've made to date. So that's the progress update on that. I was actually expecting maybe Mitch would come tonight, but he's probably tied up, or I didn't remind him, so that might be my fault. So what they're working on is their engineering drawings to get their permits for water, wastewater, stormwater, but they're also working on getting their PUD agreement ready for your next meeting. They're intending to close on this property by the deadline. That's their plan. Storage building we talked about. I kind of maybe gave you as much info as you need right now, but Brownlee Hall's looking at it from a design build perspective. Barry Polson Architects looking at it from a design perspective. We'll have something for you to consider soon on that, to try to get something designed and get some costs narrowed down on it, hopefully. Michigan Veteran Homes, they finally have their water and sewer permits, so that work's gonna start going really fast here in the next couple of weeks. And at some point, Venture Drive will be closed. Marquette County Road Commission will issue the public service announcement on that, so keep an eye out for it in the news. I'm sure we'll get a copy of it and we'll try to share it with you as quickly as we get it.
So basically, Commerce Drive, or Venture will be closed past the Fish and Wildlife then?
Correct.
Yeah.
And they will install a detour when that happens, because at some point they have to tie that water main in on both ends, and Wright Street will have to be closed for a while they tie in on Wright Street with the water main too. So I guess be prepared for that. Anyone in the public, that is coming in the next couple of weeks for sure.
John, is there a plan, obviously to close it, but to get that road built and back open this year, I would assume?
Correct. Yep, they are not going to close it until the last minute possible, when they have to actually physically close it, because they have to build a roundabout at the new entrance on this side. So that can only wait so long, because there's a lot of concrete work and that kind of stuff, and the pipe underneath has to be done first.
And November 15th is generally a cutoff date for any asphalt.
And I think they lost a couple of weeks with their permits too, so nothing we could do about it. I mean, we kept it moving as quick as we could, but wanted everyone to be aware of that. Backyard Creek, the project we talked about for what feels like as long as I've been here, it started as 4 culverts in Trowbridge. It's down to 3, and unfortunately the culvert that started this project is the one that's getting done last, if at all. That's the one on Montgomery, if I got the right road. So the poor people there that have been waiting the longest, that knew about this the longest, still aren't going to see it this time. But that should be starting here soon as well. We haven't had a pre-con meeting, but the project was awarded to Van Dam, and the road commission will be handling the construction on our behalf. We're the applicant for the non-point source grant on that. The last thing is, if you saw your email, I sent email to NTN today approving 2 trails that they're building from our new trailhead. One of them is a walking only loop. That's their attempt at trying to say, dog walkers, we hear you. We don't have to do this, but we're doing it on our own. We're building you your own loop that bikes can't go on. No bikes. I think it's a great attempt by them to reach out to that part of the community. It's not that they can't be on the mountain bike trails, it's just they have to have their dogs on a leash. And then they're also building a new connection from the trailhead to the existing network, and it ties in right at one of the most popular trails in their network, so it'll be pretty exciting when that's all done. I reviewed it according to the requirements in their license, and they meet they met all of those requirements. We just have to get encroachment agreements with Northern Natural Gas where they cross their easement, which I'm working on.
So are you saying this dog walking trail, will they still need a leash?
Yes, because it's
Okay.
not
I
fenced.
just want to make that clear.
You were part of the vote that says they have to be leashed.
I know, but you didn't mention that just now when you were talking about it. so
It's intended to be a dog walking loop. It's foot traffic only, so you don't even have to have a dog. But if you do have a dog, it still has to be leashed.
Okay, thank you.
Now, if that group in the community wanted to come up with funds to figure out how to fence in that area, maybe we could consider, once you get past the creek crossing, allowing dogs to be off leash. But it has to be a fenced in area, it has to be controlled, they have to be picking up after the dog waste. There's a lot more to consider, but they don't have any skin in the game currently, and we don't have the budget to just build a fence on a 5-acre
And
area.
and enforcement too.
Correct. We all know what kind of enforcement issues we've had already. I will say though, I think they went somewhere else.
No, they didn't. I've been there twice in the last week. Both times I encountered unleashed dogs on the trails.
Was it in the evening
No, mornings.
on the trail or on the road?
No, on the trail.
Okay.
But
Well-
you're never going to enforce that. I mean, if I wasn't there, nobody would have seen it. So,
That's
Give
probably
them-
why they're going in the morning.
Give him a badge. Put a little red light on his bike.
In the Billy Club, okay? Well, that's good to know though, too.
That's all I have though, if you're ready to move on.
Any questions for John? Okay, thanks. Could we review our motions, please?
Yeah, so the first motion was consent agenda as amended with the change in those minutes. Excuse me. The second motion was to approve the regular agenda as amended. We removed 8C, which was the township firearms policy revision. That was approved. The third motion was to approve the EAP policy, and that was approved. The fourth motion was to approve the township cell phone policy, that was approved. Fifth motion was to approve the engagement letter for bond counsel, that was approved. The sixth motion was to approve the intent for the capital improvement bonds, and that was approved. Roll call vote. Seventh motion was to approve the ordinance policy revisions for Lions Field, that was approved. The eighth motion was to approve the 2025 overband crack ceiling, that was approved. And the ninth motion was to approve the resignation of Laurel Niskern from the Library Township Advisory Council, and that was approved.
Good business. So we expect to have the firearms policy on the next agenda. You will also get the MTA legislative policy to look at to see if you have comments that you want to forward to them for next year. And maybe the PUD for the next meeting, you said, possibly review
Agreement, yes.
agreement. Okay. Comments? Our next meeting is August 20th, so it's in 2 weeks. I was just going to say that I kind of took exception to a comment at our last meeting saying that a person didn't feel that we were acting appropriately by not voting for the TIF and voting to include ourselves in the employee assistance program. And I don't see the connection between the two. They have nothing to do with each other. It's not costing the township anything extra to have the board participate in that. I don't imagine that we will use it, but it's there if we want it. I mean, we're still considered employees even though we don't qualify for the ESTA, the sick time allowance. So, I just wanted to say that. I didn't think it was an appropriate comment, but the
Thank-
public can say whatever they want.
Thank you,
so
I agree.
I can say whatever I
I
want
agree,
to.
yeah.
That's why it's public comment, they have their opinions.
Yep, that's right.
We have ours.
Yep.
And I would like to make the 10th motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? At 6:45. We are